So I want to spend a few minutes talking to you about the idea of data as a platform for value in the big data world. Now, if data as a platform sounds to you slightly weird and arcane, then you're not alone. However, in this world of increasing investment and accelerated focus on analytics and data, it's important that it's important that organizations go up a level of abstraction in order to really understand how to get value from all of the data that's out there. So big data is everywhere these days. However, relatively few companies have the global reach and the scale to be responsible for the truly huge sets of data. And for those companies that have that scale and reach, so the likes of Bing, Microsoft, Yahoo, Cloud, and others, they're building successful business models and successful businesses from figuring out how to exploit that data. We're seeing some fairly standard patterns in those organizations. So generally speaking, where companies have huge amounts of data, they're typically adopting a pattern of using things like Hadoop in order to store and process the data that they're going to use for the core of their business model. And then they're using structured analytics in order for them to gain the insight they need to create the value-added services that will then feed back into their business and enhance their relationship with their clients. Two great examples of that standard pattern. So Yahoo, large Hadoop data stores monitoring all the user experiences and user interactions they have, structured analytics to figure out the effectiveness of campaigns, feeding that back into their relationships with their advertising clients, and that's working well for them. Clout, I don't know how many of you know about Clout. Clout essentially is an online business that's about monitoring and measuring your influence as a party to the social network. Clout use exactly the same pattern. Hadoop, Hive, HBase to capture the 1 billion or so signals they process every day, and structured analytics to figure out the effectiveness of the campaigns and the work they do with their brands and their advertisers. These are two examples of what we might call traditional big data, if that's not a contradiction in terms. However, one of the interesting things that Clout do alongside their traditional big data work is that they provide that data and the insight that data gives from the work they're doing to other data partners. So as an example, there is a hotel chain in the US that uses Clout data to figure out whether or not when somebody checks into their hotel, are they a highly influential, i.e. is their Clout score high? If they are highly influential, then the hotel chain may give them an upgrade or a room upgrade or some other special service related to where they're influential in their social networks. And clearly there's a good reason for them doing that in terms of customer loyalty. The important thing about the data integration that Clout provides is that is a platform for additional value. So on the one hand, Clout is using standard big data techniques to drive value in their business, but they're also exposing their data for other people to create value. Government actually is a leading light in the area of data as a platform. So Transport for London was an early adopter, an early kind of leader in the idea of exposing data in order to create further value. They released TrackerNet, or their tube data, which gives people real-time access to tube data. And that created an ecosystem where people were adding value on top of that data to improve the efficiency of travel in London. And that spawned a whole range of other activities that TfL now do, related to bus times, monitoring of cycle journeys to allow people to work out where the cycles are being used. And all of that is driving more effectiveness and efficiency into the way that we travel in London, making a big difference. The phenomenon of data as a platform is driving organizations to think about how they use cloud as well, both from a provision and a consumption of data. So in the case of TfL, what they discovered, having released their tube data, is that because of the vast number of people that were using it as a consequence of the app development work that went out on top of it, that they were suffering from peaks of usage which were causing servers to crash. In order to cope with that, they followed the cloud path and decided they were going to use cloud to scale their front-end servers to be able to cope with peaks of demand where there were travel problems or other things. So immediately that kind of idea of data as a platform has driven the need for them to think about different ways of delivering it to cope with scale. One of the things that's happening is a trend in the big data industry for people to figure out different ways of deriving value from the data sets that they are creating and curating. And cloud is also influencing that consumption model as well. So many of you who have attended the Big Data Insight Conference may remember a really interesting presentation that David Boyle from EMI gave last year sometime. EMI doing some really interesting work in terms of data and big data sets. And one of the things that has happened since I think David spoke is that EMI have made available to a data scientist group and have run and sponsored a data science competition to encourage people to look at their research data that they've got from music trends and doing research in terms of consumers' tastes on music to work out whether or not, or how likely it is for people with certain tastes or certain music consumption habits to like a particular track. And they're using that internally to help them develop their marketing information. But this competition they sponsored was driven and run through a kind of online global cloud presence, and they attracted, I think, somewhere around 170 odd data scientists to build large numbers of new algorithms to think about the way they should look at that data and work out how they can understand value and the likely success of tracks and artists in new organizations. So the idea of crowdsourcing extra intelligence and extra expertise to be able to process the data and give companies insight is something that is real and is happening now. There's also commercial opportunities that this idea of sourcing external expertise to work on your data platform provides. So Retail Insight is a company that Microsoft works with a lot, and they work with retailers and consumer goods companies to apply their expertise on sales, performance optimization, demand, distribution, and such like. And they're finding that they can actually deliver that expertise as a cloud service that uses large volumes of data provided to them by their clients, the large retailers and large consumer goods organizations around the world. Now, the delivery of that as a cloud service has got two benefits. One is that it gives them global reach and global scale. Even as a relatively small organization, they work with very large organizations around the world. And also, it's beneficial to their clients because their clients no longer need to worry about the infrastructure requirements for deploying a big data solution in their own data centers. So there's an example of cloud and the data platform providing commercial opportunities for people with particular expertise to be able to build businesses that are globally successful in this new world. So the picture that should be forming in your minds now is of the idea of pools of data that are accessible globally by everybody, whether you feel you're sitting on a big data pool or not. Those big data pools are available to you because there are lots of companies that are figuring out that actually making that data available as a platform is something that not only adds value to their organization, but also provides them with the opportunity to monetize that data and create additional value chains that can perpetuate the value of that data. So the idea is, when we move into this world of a data platform, this introduces new ideas. So ideas around discovery, ideas around recommendation, publishing and sharing, and being able to, as Einstein quoted, I think, stand on the shoulders of giants through being able to reuse the platform and expertise that is available to you in this global data platform enables real breakthroughs to happen. So Microsoft, a couple of years ago, as a consequence of the earthquake in Haiti, were able to deliver. One of the big challenges with that was the problem that obviously all the locals spoke the Haitian Creole language and many of the relief workers didn't. And so there was a big issue related to machine translation. And Microsoft was able to, using existing data sets and existing expertise to build machine translations very quickly in a matter of days to be able to support that relief effort. So really to summarize, the key point I want to get across here is the importance of data as a platform for value. So the broad distribution of data and the ability for end users and organizations to access that through the global network is creating new potential for data, and it's an opportunity for data consumers and providers to come together to create value in ways that haven't previously been thought about.